that. Let's just talk about you and how you ended up in fashion.
Oh, that's an interesting question. So I've always changed things that I like to wear when I was in high school. So I would cut up a top and make it into a dress. So I was always transforming things. Didn't know I was really designing, but I was told becoming a fashion designer wasn't a career. So I didn't know I could really do this until later in life.
And so then I have to imagine then your friends are like, oh, that's cute. If I buy that, will you do that for me too? Right? And then it just starts to spread.
Go-to girl for fashion in college.
And so then you ended up saying, at some point you said, okay, this is what I'm going to do for a living, or did you go in a different direction at first?
At first, I went in a different direction. I got a Bachelor of Science degree in occupational therapy at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University.
FAMU, indeed.
FAMU.
Yes, indeed.
And I practiced occupational therapy for about 10 years.
And were you bored to tears, like, what am I really doing? Or did you just have a moment like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing anymore?
Well, when you grow up learning you're supposed to get this career, I got the career.
Yeah.
But I wanted more. So it was that passion that was missing, because I was really good. I was really smart. I was a science nerd, believe it or not.
Yes, I believe it. I believe it.
I specialized in head injuries. I loved helping people. There was a creative side of me that made me a good occupational therapist. And that creative side kept pulling me towards fashion.
Right.
So I started going to fashion school at night.
Wow.
Yep.
So you did this school at night, working by day. And at what point did you just sort of have the faith to just say, all right, I'm changing gears, I'm doing this full time? Because it's not like you know.
First, people thought I was crazy, because at the time, I was director of rehab, overseeing 3 facilities, going to fashion school at night. But that's how I knew I loved it, because I could work a 10-hour day and I would be excited about going to class, because I wanted to learn more. I wanted to know what it was to be a fashion designer.
And there was no fear. You really just felt like, okay, this is it. This is time.
I couldn't even stop and think about fear. It was the passion. It was the joy, the love for it. And it was a gift.
And were you always, like, in the process still, you buy something and then cut it into what you want it to look like? Having girlfriends ask you, hey, can you take this and make this something amazing?
Always changing things and always designing things. Like, I designed my own prom dress at high school.
Oh, wow.
I always had a vision of what I wanted things to look like. So instead of talking about other designs, I just started creating my own.
So then at what point did you start looking at, especially in all of the beautiful shapes and sizes that women come in, did you start really starting to appreciate, okay, this would be a good look for somebody, but this, not so much? When did you start to have an appreciation for body types?
So I did something that most fashion designers don't do. I opened a boutique first. And I did it because I was scared to launch my own clothing line.
Why were you scared?
I just didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the confidence. That was it. It was a mindset.
Okay.
I didn't know. I was like,
so
oh my God.
So how did you gain that confidence? Because that's huge. Because it's still, in my mind, I'm thinking it still takes a lot of confidence to open a boutique.
Yes. So having a store for 5 years, you get to learn everything you need to know about clothing. What women wear, what body types look good and what fabrics work well, which lines go out of business, you know, what sells well. So everything I needed to know to have a successful line, I got from the store.
Gotcha. So let's talk about these body types now.
Okay.
Because there are different, and I'm not sure who said it according to, you know, the shapes and, you know, pieces of fruit, but this is what sort of, you know, most of them, right? There are a lot more types of body types, but this is how we sort of break this down. Let's talk about how a woman can identify her own body type.
So I will start by saying sometimes body types can join each other. So if you don't exactly see yours, it could be 2 together. The most popular one is the pear shape.
Okay.
Believe it or not, but when you think about
And that's for women
pear,
of all ethnic backgrounds, predominantly people of color. What say you?
Yeah, all backgrounds, but predominantly people of color, but more heavier. At the bottom,
We got the
so
hips.
that crosses all cultures.
Gotcha. And then you've got this, the pear, the triangle. Just talk us through these just briefly here.
So you've got the inverted triangle, where you're heavier up top and you're just straight up and down at the bottom. And so when you think about that shape, you know you need to flare out down here so you can balance out. And it's all about working with what you have instead of trying to create something you don't have, you know?
And then you've got that apple type, right? So that rounds out a bit.
Rounds out. So you wanna belt it or do a wrap top. I love a wrap top because you can pull it as tight as you want.
Yes, indeed.
And it's all about creating balance. And I would say the same for that rectangle. A boxy shape. A lot of women have a boxy shape, but when you wear things that complement, like belting, cinching the waist, two pieces, a jacket that pulls together at the bottom.
Right. And it's also about knowing the length of what can make you look shorter, what can make you look taller, if it goes a wide leg, right, versus skinny. So there's a lot to it.
I think all women go through transitions, whether it's surgery, having a baby, me going through breast cancer. The transition of recovering, I still wanted to look good.
Right.
And I feel like every woman should be able to look good and have versatile clothing. So it affected the soft fabrics, having a little room there. You can still be sexy and not be uncomfortable.
Right, and that comfort was key, and that
Absolutely.
style was key. So let's start today with the apple shape, right? That's a little bit round. Describe the apple shape and your model. Tell us about your model.
So the apple shape, you want to pull in at the waist. So the apple shape is more rounded, very curvaceous.
Okay.
And so I put her in the April wrap top. I love a wrap top because you can pull it as tight as you want.
Okay.
To fit your comfort.
Let's see. First of all, tell us who this beautiful model is.
This is Lauren.
Lauren is absolutely beautiful. And it's interesting because you talked earlier about the fact that body types sort of switch, right?
Yes.
And kind of blend. So I see Pear, she sees apple, you see what?
I see both of them together.
So what do you do to sort of enhance curves? And what did you do with this particular style?
So with this style, we took the wrap top, and why I love a wrap is because you can pull it as tight as you want.
Yes.
It cinches the waist, and every woman wants to cinch their waist, no matter what size they are, because it brings balance. It brings balance.
And enhances the curve. It
enhances
creates some
the curve.
contrast there, right?
So she's wearing the Blair skirt, and it's a long fitted skirt. So you have some women that want to enhance their hips, but then you have some women that want to camouflage them a little bit and take the attention away from it a little. And there's a way to do this.
Show us how you did that.
So right now, her hips are being accentuated.
Okay.
Because this is hugging her hips. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna pull it up.
So if we pull back here, I see what you're doing there. Yeah.
And we've just, you see the flare in the skirt?
Yeah.
We've just camouflaged her hips and made this just a little more comfortable.
Right. And then you would just sort of secure that in place, right? And then
Well, it sits right on the hips.
It sits there. And then actually shortening actually gives her a little bit of height as well.
It gave
right?
her some height, absolutely. So, and that's a good point that you made. The longer skirt can make you look shorter.
So if you give them just a little bit of leg,
Yeah.
it adds some length, just optically speaking, right? Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about the next shape that we have in mind, the pear shape, right?
Yes.
Very close, a little bit more hip, giving them a little bit something, a little more.
A lot of people don't know the pear shape is the most popular shape amongst women. You're heavier at the bottom and smaller at the top. It's a pear.
And this is Kim, right?
This is Kim.
Okay, so what did you put on Kim? What did you do with Kim's sweet hips?
So Kim, she's also wearing the April wrap, but she's wearing it as a cardigan.
Ah,
And
I
then
see.
I put on the Tina tank and paired it with the Shanti pants. Okay.
So what? Yeah. So what does that mean?
So the tank is showing her body. You know, you can put on a cardigan and cover up, but it doesn't. So let's put on the cardigan with a tank underneath, and so you can show your body that you're not so big.
Right.
You know, sometimes
accentuate what you're trying
yes,
to highlight.
a lot of people cover up, and when you cover everything up, it actually makes you look big.
Yeah, you added weight when you did that.
So it's actually just accepting what you have and making it look better by showing it.
Right, right.
So we have a high-waisted Shanti pants. That high waist is your friend.
I love it.
That high waist is your friend. And then the wide leg pants, she's hippie. So these wide leg pants is camouflaging her hips and not accentuating.
And again, it kind of elongates as I'm looking here. Yeah, I see what you're saying. If you go with the shape sometimes as opposed to creating a different shape.
Exactly. And so now we can take this pear and give her some more shape.
What are you gonna do
by
here?
tying the wrap. Our friend April, the wrap top.
I see.
Because
Are you
it
going to
becomes
wrap in
your
the front
friend now.
or do it
This
all the way
becomes
to
your
the
friend.
back? Ah, yeah.
To the back. So we just gave this pear shape a really nice waist.
Right, right. And you can do this, and it's a lot of has to do with the fabrics too, right? There's some
Absolutely.
fabrics you want them to
You
be
want
able
them
to
to have a
move.
little stretch. You want to be able to breathe.
That's beautiful. I love how you did that.
So this complements, and it's that wide leg that's bringing the balance.
Right. And again, adding the height, accentuating
Yes.
everything in just the right places. Work it, Kim.
And she
work
even
it.
has pockets.
I see.
A lot of women with hips are afraid of pockets.
Terribly afraid of
So
pockets because you
make
feel
sure
like that
they're
material is
flat.
going to flare out.
You want a flat pocket.
I see you working, Kim. I see you working. I love it. This is so important. Designer Tracy Nicole of Atlanta says there are plenty of flattering fashions for every body type, including those rectangular women who will sometimes feel like, oh, I don't have any curves, so nothing's going to look right on me. Again, not the case. It's what you wear and how you wear it, right?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about this model who's coming up here.
This is Shahira, and she's wearing the jogger set. It's a Drew jacket
Yes.
with the Dean pants. So the important thing to know about the rectangle, you got to break it up.
Gotcha.
Whether you do it with 2 pieces, a belt, the wrap top, all of those break up that waist and give you a shape.
Right.
So with this jacket gathering at the bottom,
I can see
it's
that.
defining her waist.
Right.
Whereas without it, like if we put her on a tight fitted dress, it's just going to show the rectangle. Exactly. So if you do wear a tight fitted dress, you want to belt it. 2 pieces is your friend when you have a rectangle.
Right. And then I also see here too, sort of this tapered leg. Again, adds a little height. It also kind of accentuates and starts to create some lines and curves.
Yes. So that tapered leg is accentuating her hips, and which is what she wanted to do. Shahira said, you know, I'm straight up and down. I don't have a butt.
Right. You can't tell today, sweetie. You got
But look
it
at
all going
this.
on today.
So fitted is nicely. And we've got the balance by pulling it at the waist.
I love it. I love it. What did you do with this beautiful model? And tell us her name.
So this is Denasia, and she is wearing the Olivia dress. So I wanted
Beautiful.
to show how Denasia has the hourglass, and a lot of times you'll see fashion on the hourglass, but that's the least popular body type. Usually the hourglass is mixed with something else, like the pear or the apple.
Right.
But Denasia is tall, and so she needs to wear something slimming to accentuate her hips. And we didn't have her too tight around the waist.
Right, right. I see.
We just have it a little loose with a little room sitting on her hips.
Well, and that waist, again, can be such a challenge, right? Because sometimes
Yes.
you literally do have 2 different sizes. I can't always buy the 14.
Right.
And sometimes it's the 8, the 10 up high, and then maybe we're going down to 12, 14, 16 down low.
Right.
And so you're saying that sometimes it's a matter of just finding something that will fit slim, but that give in the fabric is what creates those lines,
We're
right?
looking for the balance. We're looking for the balance. What's going to create the balance for the top and the bottom?
Well, you have created it marvelously here. I love, love, love it. You look absolutely beautiful.
And Portia, you could even wear this dress as well. You're wearing something similar.
That's true. That's
Yes.
true. I've got a similar cut
Yes,
with
you
this
have the Mya
hourglass.
dress on. It's a similar cut, but I did want to show just because you're more hippie,
Right.
you could still wear, it's a little looseness. So it doesn't need to be super tight.
Right. And I
You
am self-conscious, you know, admittedly so, about the hips, and, you know, sometimes the waist can make it tricky to find things that fit just right, you know?
Yes.
And and you call this hourglass?
I call it hourglass mixed with a pear.
Yes. There's a
Because
whole
you are
lot of
heavier.
pear, a whole lot of pear. I understand and feel
But that is most body types, most women.
I love it.
Yes.
Over there. See you. I see you. I see
Yeah.
you. Let's take a look at all of the models that we've seen today and all of these body types so that women can really take a close look and really get a sense of what they see in themselves and get another look at what you have in mind. Tracy, you come over here. Let's take a look and make some room for all of these beautiful women. And talk me through just one more time. So we've got the hourglass, the rectangle. That was two-piecing it, right?
Two-piecing it.
So that you can sort of manipulate some curves, right?
Define the waist.
Define the waist. And then we had the pear. Again, that was playing with that waist.
And that wide leg.
Making sure you've got some comfort there.
Balance
and the apple.
The apple. We cinched that waist.
It always comes down to the waist, right?
Yes, it
Either
comes down
you
to the
have
waist.
one or you don't. You're going to create one or you won't.
Create the waist.
Right. And play with the lengths, right, to
Yes.
add, because that's going to change what every outfit ends up looking like.
Absolutely.
This has been so much fun. I love it. The bottom line for women, embrace your curves.
Embrace
if
your
they
curves.
don't have them.
Work with what you have.
Love it. Love it. And you have done a marvelous job of that. Ladies, thank you so much. We appreciate